The exits are located at the front and the rear of the craft. Hello lovely ladies and gents and everything in between. You're watching a new episode of Kylie Retrospectives, a series in which we delve into the many wonderful albums of the legendary Miss Kylie Minogue in the lead up to her new album Disco, which comes out on the 6th of November at the time of recording. I am ElliXia's Cute Valentine, Malvern's answer to Natasha Hamilton. Today we're taking it back to the year 2000 to talk about the comeback of the millennium, ElliXia's, an album that is as camp as a gay cruise ship at Christmas time. Today's look is inspired by the album's general vibe, as always. I'm feeling very summery in these colours. I feel like I'm on a cruise ship. I feel like I'm surrounded by loads of beautiful men at sea. And I think I'd much rather be there right now. And I've even got a surprise for you. That's right, I'm trading in my sorrow for some joy that I borrowed. You're welcome. ElliXia's was released on the 25th of September 2000, meaning that its 20th anniversary is just days away, which is crazy to believe, because this is the first Kylie album I fully remember coming out. This album reached number 2 on the albums chart, being beaten to the top spot by Madonna's Music, another legendary album. Maybe we'll do a Madonna retrospectives one day. Maybe. Let me know in the comments. ElliXia's was an album that really put Kylie back on the map as a bona fide pop superstar. After Kylie's last few releases not really doing so well on the charts, ElliXia's was a return to form we had all been waiting for. Just thinking at the end of the last video, talking about how Kylie almost gave up on music after the Impossible Princess album, ElliXia's is such a triumph. It put her right back at the top of the charts where she belonged. ElliXia's is an album that transports the listener to a nice poolside on a hot summer's day. So, viewers, grab yourself a cocktail, get on that sun lounger, put on some sunglasses, and relax as I take you through ElliXia's. Cheers! So ElliXia's gave us some iconic singles. We have Spinning Around, On a Night Like This, Kids with Robbie Williams, Please Stay, and Your Disco Needs You. All bar one of those are classics that are still performed on tour to this day. So let's dive into the pool that is the album's track listing. We'll start with the singles this time, bring it back to basics. The Spinning Around is the album's first single. It was originally written for Paula Abdul, believe it or not, for a comeback album that never ended up happening. Spinning Around was released in June of 2000 and it shot straight to number 1 in the UK singles chart. Her first number 1 since 1990's Tears on My Pillow. Spinning Around is an instant classic. My first memory of Kylie Minogue as a child was seeing her perform this on Top of the Pops. From the moment that song begins, you know you're in for a good old time. She traded in her sorrow for some joy that she borrowed from back in the day. She threw away her old clothes, got herself a better wardrobe, and now she has something to say. Spinning Around is just such a wonderful, carefree return to form. It's a woman who waltzes into the club. She doesn't need to make a big announcement because everyone's gonna turn and look at her anyway. And she just walks in. She's like, yeah, I'm spinning around. Move the fuck out of my way, bitch. And of course, who could forget the classic music video with the iconic gold hot pants, which she bought for 50p at a local market. 50p. That's a story she likes to tell quite a lot, actually. So you probably already knew that. And of course you know, gold hot pants are a classic. It's no wonder this video did well. Those didn't cost me 50p though, they actually cost me £12. Worth it though. Spinning Around is an absolute Kylie classic. It gets performed on tour. It's been performed on every tour since its release, except for the anti-tour when she was only doing deep cuts. It's not hard to see why. It's such a feel-good, fun song. Always puts me in a good mood whenever I listen to it, that's for sure. And we have single number 2, On a Night Like This, another classic. On a Night Like This is just divine. It's sexy, it's seductive. You can still dance to it, you can still get down to it. I'd love to be in a club one day and have On a Night Like This play while I dance with a really handsome man. But that's not gonna happen right now. It's a wonderful song. Makes you want to meet a man on a night out and just fall in love with him in an instant and then probably never see him again. I also love Now when she does it on tour. When she sings, "Since I've known you a lifetime," she always then goes, "For some of you it is a lifetime," and now I always say that every time I hear it. On a Night Like This reached number 2, and the fact that it wasn't number 1 is a travesty. But, you know, the British public don't always get it right, as I think we can all attest to. Single number 3, we have Kids, a duet with Robbie Williams. Now, I respect Kids for the big hit that it was. It's not my favourite. It's a good song, you know, it's a crowd pleaser. She does it on pretty much every tour now as well, usually as a duet with her backing singers. And sometimes I don't think it is always necessary. However, it's still an enjoyable song. It's one of those songs that might be like, it's Kids, but then it comes on and I'm like, I'm still singing along to it at the end of the day. Of course, the video with Kylie and Robbie getting a little bit frisky as well. I also love, I recently watched the On a Night Like This tour in preparation for this video, and I loved when she sang Kids, she actually did Robbie's rap at the end. Robbie's rap isn't on the album, isn't on this album version, it was on his version instead. Then we have single number 4, Please Stay, which unfortunately is a bit of a forgotten track in Kylie's discography. There was a bit of backlash towards Please Stay at the time because a lot of fans wanted Your Disco Needs You to be the single instead of Please Stay. And so I think Please Stay kind of got forgotten about. It wasn't even done on the tour for this album, but it has been done a few times since. Please Stay is a lovely Latin-infused song, you know, about a lover who she has only just met, but she doesn't want him to leave. It's very sort of heartfelt. It's very sort of romantic. It's a bit of a hidden gem among Kylie's singles. It wasn't as big a hit as everything else from this album, and subsequently it does often get ignored. Although it still does get included on compilations. But I really love Please Stay. Reminds me of the many men that I've fancied from afar in a club. I didn't say that. And then the album's last single was Your Disco Needs You. Now, Your Disco Needs You wasn't released in the UK, much to many fans' fury, but it was released in Germany, and I think it was released in a few other European countries as well. So it had a limited release. And Your Disco Needs You is a fantastic, all-out banger. It's camp as camp could possibly get. It's possibly one of the campest songs I've ever heard, actually. You know, it's very much in the style of like the Village People. It's a call to arms to the dance floor for everyone out there, all the gays, basically. She's saying, your disco needs you. I love in the chorus when it's, so let's dance to all of this, war is over for a bit. It's like, music doesn't solve all of the world's problems, but it's like, let's just put it all on hold for just a minute and just have a dance. And Your Disco Needs You, despite its limited release, has become a huge fan favourite, often getting performed on tour, included on greatest hits albums as well, and it always goes off on tour as well. It's always a moment. I always have the vision whenever I listen to that song of like a rainbow military camp where like loads of people are like training up for the disco, and like for the climax of the video, having like this disco army come into the club and like lift everyone's spirits. I love it. It's very much spreading the joy of music, you know, cure a lonely heart. There's even the French spoken word bit as well, which was changed to other languages for various international releases as well, which I just think is amazing. I think really what I can sum Your Disco Needs You up is yes. Oh, and we have an amazing key change as well, but I think I should probably start talking about other songs. So that's it for the album singles, so onto the album track. Actually on this album we have a track 0. Yes, that's right, a track 0. Forever the Queen of Innovation. Track 0 is a song called Password, which can only be accessed by putting the CD into a CD player and reversing the first track. This is what a CD looks like for those who are too young to remember. The song itself is very sort of camp and is a little bit sort of like wink wink, nudge nudge, I find. It's enjoyable, definitely. It's a little mini bop. I don't think it's a crime that it's not in the main body of the album, but it's still enjoyable, and I love the idea of it just being a hidden track that you press reverse on, because I don't know any other artists that did that at the time. Maybe they did, I don't know. Remember back in the day when like hidden tracks were all the rage on CDs? You put your CD into a computer and like look at it on Windows Media Player or iTunes, and like the last track is just like 17 minutes because there's a huge gap between the last track and then the hidden track. Ah, memories. But then on to the actual main album tracks. We have track 3, which is So Now Goodbye, a sassy little kiss off to a no good ex. I love So Now Goodbye because it starts off talking about how like it was really great in the beginning and then he turned out to be a bit of a He's basically telling him where he can go in a very classy, carefree, fun kind of manner. The amount of times I've sang So Now Goodbye about the men in the club I've admired from afar. What's that? I didn't say that. Then the next album track is Disco Down, a lovely dance floor number where she laments a lover who she doesn't have anymore, who used to really tear up the disco, and he then since disappeared. Left for whatever reason, and she's lamenting it. She can't listen to the same music anymore because it just reminds her of him. It's quite camp as well. It's very sort of tears on the dance floor kind of thing. It reminds me a bit of Steps, actually, a little bit. I always wondered as well, because she sings, "Why'd you leave to find yourself?" I wonder if maybe he left because he was gay, possibly. I don't know. Then we have track 5, which is Loveboat. Now, Loveboat is very, 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 very camp. It was the opener on the On a Night Like This tour, where she descended from the ceiling on a giant anchor. I mean, queen. Like I said, I watched a DVD of that recently, and I watched a behind the scenes backstage bit where she's like going onto the anchor to like be lifted up. And I was thinking, well, I couldn't do that. Loveboat is very cheeky as well. It's very wink, wink, nudge, nudge again. One of the lines is, "Have a Havana, pass me a peach, rub on some lotion, the places I can't reach." I think we all know what places she's referring to. I mean, I know some people do probably have trouble lotioning their feet if you're not that flexible. Yeah, Loveboat and Your Disco Needs You really, really hike up the camp factor on this album. Then we have Cuckoo, which is still pretty camp as well, but maybe slightly less camp. Cuckoo is very sort of like swinging 60s kind of number. You can just imagine the choreography being a bit like, you know, that kind of thing, and then like the, you know, that kind of thing. She's singing about a boy who she's just really, really in love with, and you know, there's like lines of, "You're the dream boy of my bedroom poster," and it's very cute. Then we have Bittersweet Goodbye, which is a ballad. It's the only ballad on this album as well. I really like Bittersweet Goodbye. It doesn't really fit in with the rest of the album. It does kind of stick out a bit like a sore thumb. But it's a lovely little song. It was written about Michael Hutchence, who sadly passed away. It is quite an emotional song. I think it is a very lovely one. It doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the album, and therefore maybe it would have possibly been better as a B-side, but it's still a really nice song. So. Then we have Butterfly, which is an absolute banger as well. Very Ibiza dance. It's kind of a shame really that Butterfly didn't get to be a single, because I can imagine having a really good video. It reminds me a little bit of Madonna's Ray of Light, actually, the song, and just as I'm thinking about it now, I'm picturing like a video in that sort of similar vein. Butterfly did actually have a limited single release in America, I think, but like a really limited, like club promo type release. Butterfly is very euphoric, it's very uplifting. I can just imagine listening to it in a club and like really just feeling cleansed. Then we have Under the Influence of Love, which is a cover of a Barry White song. I can't really imagine Kylie and Barry White singing together. She's quite high-pitched and he's very down here. Under the Influence of Love is quite camp as well. It's very sort of old-school disco sounding. A lovely song that's sort of hidden towards the end of the album. We also have I'm So High, which is also quite 70s inspired as well. Again, talks about, you know, being by the poolside under the frangipani tree. I didn't know what a frangipani was before this album. So props to Kylie for fitting the word frangipani in a sort of frangipani state. Free Dragon in there if anybody wants it. I'm So High is a nice feel-good song. I can imagine it's kind of a nice song to listen to on like a summer drive with the top down, you know, you kind of just like that. If you're in the passenger seat, otherwise you've got to keep your eyes on the road. Then we have the album's closing track, which is the title track, Light Years. And Light Years is really just divine. It's a clear homage to Donna Summer's I Feel Love. It's very similar in that way. And of course it isn't quite as good as I Feel Love, because I Feel Love is one of the best songs of all time. But Light Years is still spectacular. The song begins with a countdown with some nice sort of spacey sound effects. I said previously that the whole album feels like you're on a cruise ship. The song Light Years takes you on that cruise ship and it ascends into space. And it takes you through a cruise through the galaxy. I love the lyric, "Take a breath and take the plunge, my dear." A very good mantra. Light Years is a wonderful song to close the album up with as well. It's got some nice sort of spoken word bits where she's doing a flight attendant thing, like, "The exits are located at the front and the rear of the craft. Please fasten your seatbelts. My name is Kylie. I will be your person." And at the end of the song, she has the line, "Thank you for flying KM Air. We hope you had a pleasant flight. Please fly with us again." I remember the first time I heard that and I was just like, I want to listen to the album again, like straight away. It's kind of like a nice little sort of nod to be like, don't forget to come back to this album every now and then. It's just a perfect way to close What is an album of pop perfection? With the exception of Bittersweet, Light Years from start to finish is pop perfection. It is feel good, it is up-tempo, it's that album of summer escapism. But of course, it doesn't just end there, we have the B-sides as well. Spinning Around had two B-sides, Paper Dolls and Cover Me With Kisses. Paper Dolls is a nice ballad, it's fairly acousticy, it's very sweet. I don't really choose to listen to it that often, but it's a very sweet little number, you know. Her voice sounds very sort of delicate in it, in a nice way. And Cover Me With Kisses is very much in the same vein as Cuckoo, which is probably why it wasn't included on the album, because it's very similar. I actually think I prefer it slightly. Cover Me With Kisses feels a little bit Austin Powers-ish, actually. Like I can imagine Austin Powers in a video, being all groovy baby and all that. Then On a Night Like This had the B-side Ocean Blue, which is a absolutely stunning ballad. It's very understated, it's very lovely, and it's a real tragedy. It's not on any digital platforms. It isn't on Spotify or iTunes. Kylie's team, please fix that. Because Ocean Blue is just like, wow, you know. It's a real hidden gem, and I highly recommend seeking it out. And Please Stay has a B-side called The Good Life, which is a very understated, sort of acousticy, Santana-esque, Santana even, not Santana, sorry. You know who I'm talking about. That kind of style of song. The lyrics are nice, you know, she sings about how like she wanted a dream life when she was a kid, but now she sort of realised that her actual life and reality is better than what she dreamed. But the arrangement is a bit kind of, it's a song I put on to sort of chill out to rather than a song I'd actually like actively listen to. That one's not on Spotify either, but I'm not as sad about it. Please Stay also has a cover of Santa Baby as its B-side, a song that has been used ad nauseum since, and various Christmas compilation albums, including Kylie's own Christmas album, a whole 15 years later. So we won't discuss that one right now. On the whole, Light Years is very, very camp, but it embraces its camp. You know how some people say camp as if it's a bad thing, but it's not. I love camp. I mean, hello, I love camp. It's not a very serious album. It's not the most deep album either, but it's very, very enjoyable. It's a guaranteed hour of feel good. And if it doesn't at least raise a bit of a smile for you, then I don't know what to tell you. Light Years really did the business for Kylie chart-wise. Like I said, it was a return to form. It returned her to her rightful place at the top of the charts, and it proved that she was here to stay. Just to think how like Impossible Princess could have been the end, and last week's episode of Kylie Retrospectives could have been the last one. But Light Years came along and saved the day, and I'm forever grateful. And I'm sure my viewers are as well. Absolutely adore Light Years. I frequently return to it. And like I said, if you want to be transported to a wonderful cruise ship for an hour, then pop on Light Years. So that's been another episode of Kylie Retrospectives. Thank you very much once again for tuning in. I've been ElliXia Valentine. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment if you enjoyed the video, don't comment if you didn't enjoy the video, share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your enemies, share it with whoever you want to share it with. And don't forget to tune in next week, because if Light Years was a return to form, then we're discussing an album that took that even further. Yes, we are of course talking about Fever. And if you thought Light Years was good, you ain't seen nothing yet. I also just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who has shown me love and support in the last few weeks since I've been uploading these videos. I know these videos don't get a huge amount of views, but I don't mind, because I'm just happy that people want to watch it in the first place, and I ultimately do it for my love of Kylie and my love of drag. Whether it gets 1 million views or whether it gets just one, I don't care. I do it because I want to do it. But I do very much appreciate everyone who does support my drag and is supporting this adventure that I'm going on as I continue to develop and discover more about my drag and hone in my crafts. And I also just want to say I hope everyone is staying safe. I hope everyone is taking care of themselves. I appreciate at the moment it's very difficult. It is difficult to sort of keep the positivity at the moment. So I hope everyone is okay, and I hope you're all taking care of yourselves, and I'm really hoping that I can perform for you somewhere physically soon. Yeah, please just, you know, stay safe and continue to take care of yourself. Cheers with my non-alcoholic cocktail. It's literally just orange juice. That's all it is. Thank you very much. I've been ElliXia Valentine, and once again, Thank you very much for watching. Please book me. Mwah.